Good evening, everyone. Want to welcome everybody back for another amazing night of all stuff, no fluff. Tuesday nights, we always want to make sure that we give you some meat on the bone, some definite information that's going to help you take your business to the next level. I'm Lorie Woodruff, and today's topic, what we're going to do is we're going to jump into a great topic that I think is going to help a lot of you. It's from employee to entrepreneur. Now, a lot of us may be on the line right now that may be going through that type of conversion, but I don't want to be able just to talk about it by myself. I really wanted to make sure that this conversation was shared with a mutual entrepreneur, someone who has been an employee, someone who is now an entrepreneur, racking these streets up and doing a great job and leaving a great impression, family man, and certainly a huge impression in the credit space. So I wanted to introduce Mr. Sean Randall. You there, sir?
I'm here. How we doing, everybody?
I wanted to introduce Mr. Sean. I know it's late, it's after hours, and I know this may be a late night for you, but I really wanted to introduce you so you can talk a little bit more to my group. We've got realtors. We've got a lot of entrepreneurs. We've got some small business owners that are online. So I really thought that this conversation would really be instrumental so that something that we say tonight could really take them to the next level, so they can jump or they can jump with caution, because we're going to talk about some of the benefits of being an entrepreneur and definitely some of the cons of being an entrepreneur as well. So I had the pleasure of meeting Sean Randall last year in one of our mastermind groups together. He's only 33 years old, from the Baltimore area, a graduate from Seton Hill College. And what he was doing in his previous life was working in the criminal justice. Now he is a full-time entrepreneur as of November of 2020, which was a very pivotal year. Now full-time dad and a full-time entrepreneur. So I wanted to introduce Mr. Sean Randall.
Good evening. How we doing over here? Everybody here with me tonight?
We're good. So I just want to make sure everybody is up and alive. I wanted for them to drop their industries in the chat box. If you guys are on Instagram or on Wisdom, please drop your industry so we can know who are we talking to tonight. I know a couple of realtors are in there, but a couple of you, if you don't mind just dropping it. So tell us a little bit about your journey, Sean, from employee to entrepreneurship.
I'm good. Everybody hear me? I'm real interactive when I get into a closed space and I'm speaking to people. So let me get some threes in the chat. If you haven't dropped your industry yet, let me get some threes in the chat so I can make sure everybody is with me. I want to know a little bit of what everybody is doing so we know which way to direct this conversation tonight. All right, Gwen's with us. Gwen's gonna be the one to walk away today above us. I can see it.
What's up?
All right. Thank you for the introduction. I appreciate you, having me on this platform. I love the opportunity to speak to entrepreneurs, up and coming entrepreneurs, future entrepreneurs, people that are just, willing to get in that space and do it for themselves. As she said, my name is Sean Randall, Baltimore native, born and raised West Baltimore. Went to high school in Baltimore. I didn't even have plans on going to college, right? I was a dual sport athlete. I did football and track in high school. And then somewhere along the lines of my junior year, a recruiter came out and said, hey, you thought about playing ball in college? Everybody in my neighborhood, no one really did college. My parents, they went to school, no one finished school. My dad really didn't go to school. So having that background was, graduate high school, let's get a job. Have an opportunity to go to college. I think I was already bred to be an entrepreneur because I really didn't know why I wanted to go to college. But somehow I've been at several schools. I ended up at Seton Hill, full scholarship for football and track, and free. Thank goodness. I don't have to pay any student loans right now. But I found myself in college. And I really don't know what I want to do. I'm in there for 2 years and I'm like, I'm just here to play sports. I'm here to play sports. I want to make sure that each semester I got at least a C average so I can get on the field or get on the track. And then somewhere around my first junior year, because I had two of them, unfortunately, During my first junior year, my advisor came to me like, "Hey, Sean, what are you going to do? What are you going to major in? You got all these electives." My response to her was, "What's the easiest degree to get while I'm here?"
Right.
I really didn't have a passion to pursue anything at the time. She said, "Well, what do you really want to do?" I said, "Well, I like to help people, not just people. I want to help, kids. I seen so many people I grew up with, take the street life, or some people take the sports life. Everybody is maneuvering in different direction, but I saw the vast majority of people kind of going down the wrong direction. I said, well, I would like to do something with, juveniles in the criminal justice system." She said, "Well, a lot of electives and stuff that you've taken kind of will put you in this position. Are you sure that's what you want to do?" I didn't even jump into criminal justice right away. I thought I was going to do something computer science. Facebook was popular at this time. I was a master on social media, so I thought I hopped in computer science. And it was math problems in computer science that I just could not even read, understand, verbalize. So I went over and I actually went to business management. I said, you know what? I'm going to start my own business. I took a class called microeconomics. My teacher was Russian. Her name was Mrs. Blagg. I sat in that class for 5 minutes. The language barrier was just too much. I went to my advisor, "Look, you were right. Let me just go ahead and follow what I thought at the time was my dream." And I ended up getting a degree in criminal justice. It just so happens that during 5 years of college, on that last year, I was 3 classes outside of getting a minor in psychology. So I went ahead and just minored in psychology and finished. Upon graduating, again, I'm still kind of just, going with the wind. A week before graduation, a recruiter for a placement in Philadelphia, PA, it's called Glen Mills, that came up to the school. "Hey, we recruit, former athletes, to come mentor our kids and work here at this placement." I really didn't know what I was getting into. But at the time, it was, I want to help kids. I want to help people like me, people that didn't have, what I had, or people, in the same position as I was. So I was working at Glen Mills. I moved to Philadelphia from Pittsburgh, from college, and I stayed there for about 4 years. What got to me was along the way, and I know a lot of you guys working in the employment environment, you might start to feel this way. At your job, you start to realize that, you have all the tools, but you don't have as big of a voice, right? You want to make changes in the job. I want to make changes in these youth, but I didn't have as big of a voice. I was just an employee. So it was more so a lot of people just build stuff off of statistics, but you're right there on the ground doing the actual work. You don't care about the statistics. You know what you speak from personal experience. So that's when I decided that maybe I could be a little more hands-on. Before these kids get to a placement, what could I do? And I ended up getting a job in Maryland. I moved back to Maryland, and I actually got a job in the state's attorney's office in Howard County. And I was actually working in the juvenile criminal division. Pretty much from there, I would catch the kids on the intake level that, just got new offenses. I was a person doing like the background. I was the caseworker going out in the community, working with them and things like that. The big thing again, everything is off of statistics. You're stuck to a role that you have to play, and you can't go outside of that. And it's like, oh, if you save one youth, it was amazing, but you might have the tools to save 1 million youth. And it was just one of those things, like when my passion was just starting to bleed out. I was really getting annoyed, being at work. I was tired of punching in. I was tired of people telling me what to do and how to do it. I hate to say it like this, but thank goodness for COVID, right? A lot of lives was lost, and I don't mean to put it like that, but I mean, when it came down to us having to sit in the house, it gave me time to just think, right? I didn't have this type of time, and we don't get this type of time. That's one thing that we don't have, and we can't get back is time. At a job, you spend an hour before you go to that job getting ready. You got to commute to your job, 30 minutes. Some people commute an hour. Then you're there for 8+ hours. And then by the time it's time to go, you got to commute back. Then you get home, you wind down. You spend 30 minutes to an hour winding down. You look up, you didn't work 12 to 14 hours. Right. And now you're just so tired. All you do is go to sleep, you get back up and you do it again.
All over again. Yeah.
So it was just like, man, I was just becoming a robot machine. And I was getting real complacent, and I was just getting stuck in such a negative rhythm at the time that that's all I was doing. Right. But COVID, my daughter was born in 2019. I wanted to do so much more for her. I wanted to be able to provide so many things for her that I wasn't able to have for myself as a child. So I just started thinking. I went through so many weeks. I was like, look, I need another stream of income. This is not cutting it. I started off, initially, I went and got another job. And the one thing that I tell people is, when you get more jobs, all you're doing is working harder than you should have been doing in the first place, right? And it's one of the biggest things one of my mentors taught me is, stop exchanging time for money, right? So I would get off one job, go to another job, knowing I was making X amount of, dollars, which was great at the time. But now, mind you, I just had a child. I'm losing that time, that bonding time with her. Yeah, I'm making more money, but if you just turn your relationship into your kids all about money, you lost them in the first years.
Right.
So I said, well, what can I do from home? I'm working from home now. Thank goodness. I was teleworking at my main job. What else can I do that's not going to be, as labor and strenuous on the body? The first thing that I actually jumped out and started doing, I hopped out into Forex. I was doing stocks and I was doing Forex. And
I like that word.
Yeah, so it was real good in the beginning. It really was. But it was a lot of man hours. And this is the thing that I tell people: if you're going to do something, you got to do it 150%. I was up till 3, 4, 5 in the morning watching boards, in other time zones, just trying to learn it and study, like trying to just figure it out. And it was great. It was good. But then somewhere along the lines, I realized, I'm trying to start these businesses. Me and my boys were trying to get properties, and every time we go, it's like, yeah, we see you have enough money for the property, but we need you to have experience, or we need your credit to be here in order for us to get you here. Yeah, you have the money, but your credit isn't where it needs to be.
Right.
And I'm like, man, credit. No one taught us about credit. All I know about credit, my mom growing up, hey, don't get a credit card. If you do, use it for emergencies.
Right.
If you run your card up, pay it off, and make sure you cut it up. That was the worst lesson my mom has ever given to me in life.
We all heard that before.
And it was like, man, you kind of just ruined me. But they were our parents, and everyone before us that educated us, they were just doing the best they could with what they had. So I said, you know what? It seems like if anything, I need to figure this credit thing out. Right. I feel like if I figure this credit thing out, I guess the rest will fall in play. Mm-hmm. I started going to different conferences. First I started watching YouTube videos, right? Mm-hmm. And then I started realizing, like, man, they're giving me some information, but they're only giving me just enough, right?
A little bit. They click the link to get some more information.
They don't want to give you the full game of what it takes to get over that hump.
Right.
But the one thing I will say here is sometimes you gotta pay to play, right? It takes money to make money. And once I start understanding that, I actually spent my last at the time, right? I spent my last to join a mentorship. Mm-hmm. And by me hopping in this mentorship, it completely, changed my life as a person. My mindset, the way I thought about it's just everything, and it's one of the best things.
So for those that are following, see the transition that this man took. Now he's in the financial literacy credit industry. Before, working a job, there was none of that financial talk. It was more so working with the youth in the juvenile system. So it doesn't matter where you are, because you did that and you still bounced around with a variety of different majors, right? Until you figured out what works out. So I just want to make sure everybody is keeping on track with where you end up now. Doesn't mean that's where you were 5, 10, 15 years ago. So
absolutely, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. So, I'm just going around, start educating myself. And once I started receiving powerful information that was just changing the way I thought, changing my conversation, and I always was taught, going through these mentorships, conversation changed the conversation. And it's so true. The different networks that I started happening, the different conversations I started having, it was really changing my compensation on the back end. And once I just started getting this value, I started my credit business. I started a lot of other business opportunities I'm sure we'll jump into further on. I was going back to work at this time. I'm juggling two things. And like I told you, if you do something, you got to be 150% in.
Yeah.
So if anybody is on that borderline, hey, I got this amazing idea, do it. Don't second guess yourself because of the complacency at work. I mean, jobs close every day. We saw that with COVID. So many people got laid off because they were going to a job that they thought it was complacent. I'm always going to get this check on every Friday, or I'm always going to get this check every other week. That can end tomorrow.
Anytime. And I was taking a look at some of the stats. 70% of employees don't even like their job. That's a high number. 70% are just chilling and just doing it just to get the check and just, do what they got to do to get to 5 o'clock.
So with that being said, I was juggling. I was going back and forth from work, and I'm getting off work. I'm jumping into, doing people's credit. I'm jumping into, trying to start a trucking business. I'm jumping into all of these businesses that I'm trying to help, elevate and escalate. And it's wearing me out because I can't give 100%. And so the thing that I really want to do was what I can call mine. Right. And I really just took a leap of faith. November 2020, I said, you know what? The hell with it. It has to work or it has to work.
I love it. So you jump.
So I told my job, look, this isn't a 2 weeks notice. This is a 2 hour notice.
Damn it.
I'm going to come in to clean the office out, and I got to go.
2 hours notice. You gave him 2 hours, Sean?
2 hours.
You can't even give him 2 weeks.
2 hours. I had to go. Because what you start understanding is the more powerful information that you have, the more knowledgeable you become, and whatever craft it is that you're trying to do, when you start going back to something that you don't like, the conversation is just different. It felt like high school. People complaining about their boss, people complaining about employees. Everything. You're just sitting there like, I'm just can't wait to get off so I can go do what I want to do. I can't wait to go elevate my business. And it was just, I was wasting time. Right. And if you're wasting time, you're wasting money. So that's why it comes
down to, and I don't want people to think that a job is the worst thing.
Not at all.
We're going to go into a couple of the steps to do that transition the right way and not give 2 hours notice. I mean, Sean, you were an exception. But we want to at least go through some steps in a little bit so people can see that is a seed. That job, no matter what you're doing, whether you're nursing, whether you're in real estate, whether you're in network marketing, whether you're in the corporate space, you're going to learn something from that job, no doubt. And you can't leave the job just saying, you know what, I never learned anything. Nothing. If anything, you probably learn some kind of discipline, you learn some kind of organization, or you learn what you don't like. But don't sit and just badmouth a job when you know that is the source that's paying your rent, your car, your food, those type of things. But, as Sean was saying, when there's a burning desire, and just you guys throw one in the chat box, if you had that burning desire and you're a part of that 70%, you're just like, say one more thing. Say one more thing the wrong way, and it's a wrap at the end of that day. So no, I commend you for jumping out there. So you go from working in the corporates, not so much corporate. Is that really corporate?
No, not necessarily, just the court system.
Right. You worked in the court systems basically, and now you are one of the top gentlemen in the credit and financial literacy space. So 2 years ago, it didn't look like this. Now, fast forward to 2022, what has that transition looked like since you jumped?
To be honest, that's all I can be. It was tough, right? 2 years, and I tell people, don't think that whatever it is you're going to do is going to work right away. Yeah. Yes, I left my job and with a 2 hour notice, and I went over to, start my life as an entrepreneur, but it was tough. I mean, I was losing more money in the beginning, and I really didn't know what I was going to do. Thank goodness for that job and me having, I think I just saw somebody put in there about until something like 40-40 plan. Thank goodness for the 401, was it the 401k?
Yep.
Thank goodness for that. Because I exhausted the entire thing in my first 2 months.
Right.
Just trying to, invest into the business, just trying to pay bills, just trying to still live life, but, do what it is I have to do. But, like I said, man, just continue to educate myself and telling myself, like, look, this has to work. It wasn't even just about me at that time, it was about my daughter.
Exactly.
And
she needs to too.
Yes.
And you stressed out.
And the thing that really motivated me the most, it was like, you know what? It's not for me. So I tell people, like, look, if you're going to do it, have a motivation other than I want to make money. Have a motivation for yourself other than I want to be successful. My motivation for me was I want her to be successful. So my first business that I had was in her name. I actually started off with a trailer business, right? Because I hadn't hopped in the trucking yet. My boys was all in the trucking. They said, hey, you can get into trailers because everybody needs something to haul. So I named
2020. That was the first job.
That was my first business. It was in 2020. I kind of juggled two. I actually opened up two in the same month. So I opened the trailer business for my daughter, and then I started the credit business myself.
Got it.
So the trailer business kind of took off, right? Thank goodness, and this is what I mean by picking a perfect team. Thank goodness I had, the right people around me that already knew the trucking game, that I was able to just fall right into place as far as like the trailers. As far as the credit, it was rough in the beginning. I mean, I was doing people's stuff for free, right? And that's the thing that
sometimes you got to do that to prove yourself.
Absolutely have to. And that's the thing I would tell people, offer something for free. Like whatever business venture that you're going to do, have a free service that you can offer somebody, right? Everybody loves free stuff. Have a free service.
And they give you the free samples. They give you the free samples for a reason.
Right. So I was doing friends, family, neighbors. I was doing anybody's credit I could, because it was one, I'm doing this for free, so I'm getting the practice, right? The second part is now I'm getting content, because once these results start rolling in, now I have something to start showing other people, like, look, all of that, it actually works,
right?
So that was the beginning part. Now I was up 2 businesses, and the funniest thing is, more money, more problems, right? It really is more problems, because the more money I was making, I started noticing my expenses start going up. And I'm like, I need to find out how to make more money.
Right.
So like, let me find another stream of income. Because the one thing that I learned in this entrepreneur game is one stream of income is too close to none. Right? Because if one goes, you need to have a B, C, D, E, F, G plan to back that up. Right. And that's when I hopped full into the trucking game. I bought my first truck. And like I said, luckily my team, I had people already in this game. They was able to hire the drivers. I hopped on one of my friends' authority, and they pretty much got it going for me. So I started the trucking game.
You still have that going on?
Still have that going on right now. I have a total fleet of 3 trucks that I have underneath one of my friends' authorities.
All right, still got that going. That's perfect.
Right. So then,
how did you get into the credit repair space?
So with the credit repair space, it was me and my boys all went to the same conference, right? And what the conference was, they talked about credit, they talked about funding and everything like that. And once we started hearing the funding, we were so addicted to the money. Everybody gets intrigued by the money figures, and it was like, well, how do I make that? I just got to have my credit. Okay, cool. Let's get our credit together, and then let's go ahead and get to this money.
Right.
It just so happened, like, we was like, we're never going to be doing credit again. So we all sat there and said, it just so happened that the credit gravitated to me more. It just came to me. I was studying laws on it. I was, going through different systems. I got so good at it that I did all of my friends' credit. And it was like, they started telling people, hey, my boy did this. Next thing you know, I got like 20 clients. I didn't even have a business at the time for it. I was literally just trying to get my own self together. It was like a side hustle.
It found you. I like the way you said that. It found you.
Yeah. So people was like, hey, such and such told me you do credit. Can you fix mine? I'm like, I guess. How much you charge? I mean,
I don't know. What do you want to pay?
What you want to pay? So, at the time, people that see me now, they're probably like, look, I remember when you was doing it for pennies on a dollar. Because I really didn't know what it was worth at the time.
Right.
And it got to the point, man, I was like 50 clients in, and I'm like, I need some systems, I need some programs.
Need some help.
We got to put this together to make a business out of it.
Right.
And that's just pretty much
what it's about, leverage. I know the very first time I met Sean, it was through mentorship with Princess, right? And just like you said, your last dollar, 2020, I was learning so much. I was in YouTube University like crazy. And I didn't lose a job at the time, but I was looking to transition and get something different, just like you were. And with that, I stumbled across her page. Now I have been watching Princess for a while because she was in the credit repair space as well. So I'm looking at her page, and then one day she had this mentorship, and it was 1997. And I'm like, I got money, but I don't have it all in one place. So I have money over here, and I have money over here. So I'm trying to email her like before 7 o'clock, before her webinar. I don't think I told you this story, before her webinar. And I'm telling her, hey, I got 2 credit cards that I can put it on, but I want to be there for 7 o'clock. And I'm sitting there 5 o'clock trying to figure things out. And by 7 o'clock, I got access. So you do what you got to do when you know that something in front of you is major, and you don't look at how much it costs. It's what if I don't get on here? How many speakers did she have? She had at least like 20, like one for each of the day of the week.
Yeah.
That right there was a great platform because she was talking about a variety of different businesses. Not that you have to do them all, entrepreneurs, but it gave you the ability to pick and choose. And like, you know what, maybe I like Airbnb. No, I like Turo better, or maybe I like the credit space better. So that was a huge space where I first met Sean. And I know, Sean, just in those, that was last year.
Yeah.
Just in those, hasn't even been a year yet, just in that time period, I've seen how much you've grown and seen how much you're marketing. I'm looking at the marketing. The marketing, this man had no presence on Facebook, social media. And the first time he was like, I'm not on it. I don't want nothing to it. Cause when you're in a certain industry, you don't really need it. But as an entrepreneur, you need social media. So that was one of the things I see now. If you guys make sure you follow him on Mr. Key. Is it 2FF?
At Mr. Key, the number 2FF on Instagram. It's just Sean R on Facebook. And then I have my business links on Facebook as well.
Okay, so I'll make sure that we drop all that in the chat. But yeah, follow him because if you scroll up and you can see he's with his daughter, he's doing all this stuff outside. He's outside. And I love it because you understand as an entrepreneur how the transition has to happen to keep up with marketing. So I commend you on that, just for me looking at that alone. That is major.
Social media is not it for me.
Social media is my love. I love it. And that's the main thing I want to show entrepreneurs is that you got to be present. In order for you not to be losing money, you have to be present in front of social media. So that's a whole different conversation. But let's get back to you on your daughter. So talk a little bit about your daughter. How is she? Like, she doesn't know anything different. All she's known is what you're doing right now. So how is she in your day-to-day experiences?
So in the beginning, I was with her all day, every day. Like I said, it was just like the COVID thing. I put myself on a schedule, like, okay, let's get her up in the morning. Let's hurry and feed her. Let's put on, I think it was like Coco Melon at the time. Man, I'm tired of that little kid, but it was Coco Melon at the time. I was, yeah, that show was just, it was perfect at the time. And it was like, okay, let's hurry and get her to sleep. At this time, I got an hour and a half to 2 hours to cram as much information as I can before she wakes back up. Right. And it was like, all right, let's get it in. She's back up again. Father duties might go out to the playground, run around, whatever we got to do. She takes that other nap because she was on a 2-nap schedule in the beginning. And I was back at it again. It's like, look, cram. Let's get as much information. I was literally trying to get every minute out of the day. Mm-hmm. And then once, I started flourishing in the business, Thankfully, man, and it really was a blessing. I put her in school. I mean, it's definitely
Thank goodness for school, right?
yeah, it's definitely pricey, but it's well worth it. But the biggest thing I can say about kids, and like I said, I never bash or badmouth, employees, right? Because I was an employee,
Right.
The work aspect is definitely, it's good to have that background. It's good always to have a fallback. You never know what the business is going to do. But just being able to, have the free time to be with her any given time. I mean, I see her every single day, right? I didn't want to be a part-time dad. I didn't want to be a over the phone video dad. If I go somewhere on a trip, she has to come with me.
I saw.
Right.
So she's going to Vegas and Atlanta with you all?
Right. So if I gotta catch this flight for this conference, you gotta come with me. We figure the rest out when we get there.
So she's experiencing it as you are getting more mature with entrepreneurship. She's experiencing that. So that's all she'll know. And
absolutely.
School is not for everyone. So a lot of times when you have parents that are just going in that pattern and method and saying, you know what, you got to go to school, and that's not everybody's walk. I went to one semester at Bowie State and I'm like, there's something about this I don't like. I don't like raising my hand. I don't want to do it no more. And I just knew I wanted to be different. I was going to be different. I just didn't know what it would look like. It turned into real estate and banking at first, but I didn't know what that looked like. So just for the parents that are out there that say, you gotta go, I just want you to listen to what Sean is speaking, because he went through a few transitions. And now he's not even working in the field that he went to school with at all. Now, with the people that you did work with in the criminal justice system, could you see that entrepreneurship is the only thing that they can do if they're in trouble with the law?
It's a great movement to have. I couldn't think of anything else. I mean, besides minimal jobs maybe, but a lot of them have so many just different talents, and that's really where it starts. It's finding your talent, finding your niche, finding something you're good at, and that you can be better than anyone else at. And that's the toughest thing. A lot of times we try to fit the role of someone else. We got a lot of people here on real estate. Just because John or whoever is a great realtor doesn't mean you're going to be a great realtor because you're moving the same way he does. Everything works for different people. And that's one of the biggest things that I had to understand. And sometimes in positions, when we want success, we gotta become comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's one of the biggest things that resonated with me. It was like, become comfortable with being uncomfortable. Social media, I couldn't stand it. She told you just a year ago, you can go look at my page from where it started to where it is now.
Nothing on there, y'all.
You would think that my page was spam because I didn't want to get and speak in front of people. I had the information. If you caught me on a passing, you would get $1 million worth of game out of me. But for me to just get on live and social media and stuff like that, it just
for the job you didn't have to. For that job, you didn't have to do that.
Absolutely. So, the job was real closed in. Even working in criminal justice, it's a closed in environment.
Exactly.
You're not sharing information. You can't go talk about somebody's case to the the next person. So that's just what my mindset was trained. And that's the biggest thing too for us. Sometimes we gotta unlearn and then relearn. So we gotta untrain our minds from what we grew up on for 20, 30 plus years. And just sometimes take a leap of faith, and sometimes it's gonna pan out, sometimes it's not. But at the end of the day, we just gotta keep going no matter what route it is that we decide to take.
And at the end of the day, it takes the discipline. So the job for me is about discipline. The discipline to get up at a certain time, to arrive at the job at a certain time period, to structure your day and deadlines, right? That is what a job structure typically does. So if you can do that, then transitioning to being an entrepreneur should be easier. I mean, you still got a lot of little gray areas and details to take care of, but that discipline is everything, you guys. So I wanted to make sure that word is like embedded in you, because if you don't have the discipline and you're just always showing up 15 minutes later, or you're always showing up late, or you never finish tasks when you were supposed to, or I didn't do it all the way. you just kind of coasting by. Entrepreneurship is going to be super hard for you. And it's nothing glossed around that, hey, it's the best. And all I do is talk online all day and I look like this. It ain't, like Sean said, it's reality hits when you're working over 40 hours a week. You're up trying to figure out what works best for you. And you're trying to really figure out what's going to produce food on the table. So, so with that, discipline is the key word. So you guys drop discipline in the chat box, because that is the key. That is the core to what we have to have in order to make this work. So Sean, I got 10 keys.
Mm-hmm.
I got 10 keys. You know, I just had
to
put a spin on it. 10 keys for somebody to go from being an employee to an entrepreneur. Now, I think just by knowing some of the people that are on this thread here, they have done it and they're in the midst of doing it, but they may need to see somebody, they need to know, I want to jump. And Sean said he only gave 2 hours notice. That sounds like me. I want to make sure that that's not you guys, because that was a mistake. And I was like, look, if you can do these simple steps, then it could reward you much better. Fair? You guys ready for the 10 keys? Had to, you know, make a play on words because that's his business name too. Make sure you follow him on IG and on Facebook. For those that are on here, he is Mr. Key 2FF on IG. So make sure that you follow him, and take a look at his social media page. All right. A lot of credit information to share. I actually went to him personally because as much as I can do my own credit, I got sick and tired of doing certain things on my own, and I needed his help to help me get some inquiries off. So I needed like a double dose of help. And I was like, I'm doing it. I'm doing okay with it. And I'm helping people do it on their own. But if you need the help of a professional, that is what Sean does now, is he specializes in credit repair, making sure that your credit is looking great so that when you're ready to get business financing, you look amazing. When you're ready to get business funding, you look amazing. So sometimes you need that hand to hold you, a professional to do that. So that's why I really wanted to make sure that you listen to his story to really see where you start is not where you're going to finish. But this is where this man is in a space right now, dominating it. And yeah, you guys are definitely welcome to connect with him, and I hope you would. All right, so these keys, here's the major keys that you all need to really see. Yes, Andrew, paradigm shift, that's totally it. One of the things you want to know is you got to know yourself throughout this entire process. And you got to plan well, and we got to set realistic goals, because as much as you may love your job, there may be something inside of you is saying, you know what, I'm going to do this job until, and you don't know what that date is until, it could be a year from now, it could be 6 months from now, but until. So just promise yourself that you're not just going to jump out there, but let's set some realistic goals and let's have some fun with some of these tips of what's going to help you get to entrepreneurship. All right, so number one is it's time to reconnect with your authentic self. I put a post out today about finding your purpose. That's what it's all about. If you don't know what you're supposed to be doing, you're going to be doing this. You're just going to be lost. And it's going to be 2025, and you're still going to be talking about, well, I was supposed to start this business. I was supposed to. Sometimes you getting fired is a good thing. Sometimes you getting fired is a great thing, and it's a blessing. So whenever somebody says, I got laid off or I got fired, I'm like, congratulations. I'm not going to stay in the moment of sadness with you. I want to make sure you're okay, but I'm like, congratulations. Because God took that away from you because you didn't do it on your own. And you stayed there too long. You stayed there too long. So the first thing I want to share with you is make sure you find out what your purpose is. Sean, how long did it take you to figure out what, because you said credit found you, and that stuck with me. How did you find credit repair was what you needed?
Credit. So I think I went to a conference. It was April. it was April of
2020?
April of 2020. And I probably procrastinated. That's the one thing that you shouldn't do. You don't procrastinate, you know. I kind of was real hesitant on like, hey, am I going to do this right? Hey, am I going to mess myself up? Instead of just saying, you know what, it is what it is. Let me just dive in and go ahead and do it. So I think it was about June that I actually started doing my credit, doing my friend's credit. And by August of 2020, I had about 50 plus clients. And I just decided like, look, let me just go ahead and make a business of it. So
Yeah.
When I say it found me, I want to say it was about a 4-month transition.
4 months. So again, getting fired is okay. And yes, I'm keeping it real. So Absolutely. Don't stay somewhere too long. A lot of times, I remember when I worked in the mortgage industry, I worked there longer than I needed to. And when I started going down the hallways and I started cursing, I'm like, this is it. I think this is my time. I think this is the signal that I needed. But you know, I was sticking for the check that I was getting every 2 weeks. I was so comfortable with the 401k and the health benefits. So those are the kind of things that we're talking about as far as on the other side of your fear, God has the whole rose garden waiting on you, but you holding on to this little thing, this little thing. And on the other side of that fear is everything. So we're definitely going to make sure that that gets explored a little bit more. So number one is figure out your purpose, reconnect with that. Go to my page on Instagram, take that free quiz. It's in the link in my bio. Take that quiz, it's free. And by doing that, you can identify what you should be doing. Because if Sean took that quiz maybe a couple of years ago, financial literacy probably could have been on that page. When I took that quiz, it really points out, what are you good at? What do people say you're good at? You know, those kind of questions. It's only 4 questions. And when you figure it out, you would think that real estate was run up and down the page. Credit was up and down the page. Real estate was nowhere, Sean, on my page. None of it. All of it came down to your core. What do I love to do? What do I love to do? Teach. Teach was on there. Make money, help other people. Those were like the core answers that kept overlapping each other. So if you guys haven't taken that free test already, that may be your breakthrough that you need first before you start figuring out what business am I supposed to do. Okay? Because there's something inside of all of us. The 9 to 5 pays the bills. We get that. But there's something inside of us that's typically like, look, I want to open up a guitar shop. Or I want to open up a pet store. Like, it's so far off from what you typically do, but you just have to jump. Okay. Number 2, turn a problem into your business idea. Turn a problem. Think about it. How many people have less than perfect credit, Sean? That's a problem. That's a problem. So he turned that business idea into a money-making business for him. And that's it. He doesn't have to do Mary Kay. He doesn't have to do nails on the side. Not that you would do nails, but he doesn't have to do anything else. But that's the industry he's in. So when I know of him, that's the one thing I know is credit. Okay. Turn a problem into a business idea. Okay. Selling t-shirts, is that a problem? Well, for most people who like shopping, it's a wonderful thing because I like clothes. So they like to see designers. I want to see t-shirts and something branded. So just figure out what is the problem that you got to solve. This is working your job, you guys. This is all while working your job. This is the transition of how you want to move to entrepreneurship full time. Okay? You want to say anything about that?
Don't take that transition for granted. It's not as it can sound good, but that transition, I mean, it's late nights and early mornings. But at the end of the day, you know, if you keep that determination and stay motivated within yourself, you know, you'll breeze through it. In this game, man, as an entrepreneur, you're going to have days where you feel like you're almost at the job where you want to quit. But then you got to keep letting yourself know, like, hey, if I quit this, I don't have anything to look to.
What you gonna go back to? You created a whole business, you know?
So just understand, you know, that transition is amazing. If you do it the right way, right? And so I encourage people, you know, if you're going to transition, get a mentor, talk to somebody about it. You're going to take L's absolutely. You're going to take losses though, right? That's the one thing that I learned in business for myself. I've taken more losses than I've taken wins, right? I've had more losses than I've had W's across this transition. Still to this day, I take more losses than I've had wins. Right. But my wins supersede those losses. Like when I get that one win, it requires more than 10 losses that I've taken. So just keep the grind going, whatever it is you're going through. Again, it has to work or it has to work. And if you keep yourself that, then you won't fail at whatever it is you're trying to do.
And don't just do something because of the money, because that's only temporary. When you're not making the money, then you'll turn to something else and then you'll be, okay, I'm doing something new. You know, you got some people who are in different businesses. Are you still doing that? No, I'm doing this now. Okay. So just be careful, whatever you decide to do, stick with it, drive deep down inside and just keep at it. Because there are going to be moments that you are going to mess up. There are times that webinar no one showed up. There are going to be times that email that you sent that you thought was so effective, it did not. All right, so just keep at it and just know whatever you're passionate about is going to allow you to get up and keep going more and more. Number four is create your business plan. How many of you have actually written out or typed out your business plan? Let's be honest. The business plan tells us everything that we got to do. And so it's a stepping stone. And if you're looking to get funding, or if you need to really just get some kind of clarity on what the hell you do, the business plan is everything. Okay. So if you need help with that, let me know. Let's connect if you need help with that. I have set up appointments with some of you to do that already, to do your business plan. That's about 2 hours of time that you really got to think. Once you do it, you don't need to do anything else to it. You can modify it, because I've modified a business plan probably every 6 months. Just look at it, just make sure it still makes sense. What is your purpose? What is the vision of the company? Who are you looking to serve? What is the goal of the business? That's everything there. So when you go for funding, then that's going to be one of the things that some of the bankers may ask you. Do you have a business plan? I absolutely do. And you elevate yourself to look at a way different, bigger level when you've got your business plan together. Sean, you got your business plan right now?
Absolutely. If you don't plan, you plan to fail.
All right, I know. Okay. All right. You got it. All right. So the next one, number 5, is assemble a team. Number 5 is get your team together. Sean can't do the credit repair all by himself. There's no way that I can do everything that you all see by myself. There is a team behind you. So this is the time to now think, all right, here's my business. Let me get a notebook and just start focusing on, who do I need to run this business? Who do I need to run this business? Because it can't be you all the time. Now, it might be you just getting things started out because, you are the customer service rep, you're the accountant, you're the bookkeeper, and you're running the Facebook page too, and you're sending the emails out. I get it. You got to do all that. But if you've hung with me long enough, you know you can't keep doing all that by yourself, right? So just make sure that you start writing out who you need, okay? Like Andrew, we had a conversation last week. There are certain people in place that you should have on the team. And we talked about having a customer service rep. See if our Keith is on the line. Gwen, we talked about it. You've got other services, but that doesn't mean that you got to be the one talking to everyone about those services. So for your team, Sean, how many people do you have on your team?
Takes a village. So in my actual circle, it's 4 of us, 4 entrepreneurs. And this point right here, to me, this is like the biggest thing when it comes to business and entrepreneur and just trying to be successful within your business and picking the perfect team.
Right.
And I say that because what it does, it challenges you, right? And it's good to have healthy competition. It's not bad mouthing and bashing, showing receipts and accolades. You gotta have somebody that's gonna hold you accountable as well, right? You gotta have somebody that's gonna hold you accountable, and you have to be able to take the criticism or whatever it is from that person and knowing they just want the best, right? So me and my boys, there's 4 of us all together. We have healthy competitions amongst each other all day, every day. We challenge each other. Hey, you said you was gonna do this by July. It's August. What's going on? Right. Or hey, I just did this. Where y'all at? Wake up! I dropped a receipt in there. But picking a perfect team is the biggest thing. Yeah. But also understand this when you pick your team, right? If you're the smartest person in your group, you need to join another group, right? Because if you're already at the top, then you have nothing that you can learn from any individual in your group. And also understand that when you're in your business and you're hiring people, you can still learn from your employees. Never stop learning. That's one of the biggest things that I continue to learn and continue to help elevate my business. Anybody I hire, anybody that assists me in whatever I do, they have a piece of knowledge that I can learn that helps me and lets me know that, hey, they're the right person for this job. They're the right person to go ahead and carry this out. So as far as my initial circle is 4 of us, but as far as like the team in my business, I mean, I probably have over 30 people right now amongst, across the board of each and every one of my businesses, because it's a village to make this one thing happen all together. So for my whole brand, I mean, it's probably about 30 plus people. But that's a lot. That's number 4.
You guys got to jump out there with 30, but
no.
Show you, he's not rocking this by himself. You're not doing all the credit repair details by yourself.
And trust me, the 30 took 2 years is a long time. In the beginning, I was doing everything, and it's hard to pass on and have somebody else help you.
I know.
With something that you started from the bottom and you really made your baby. Like this brand that I've created, this is like my baby. And it's like anything anyone does wrong, it doesn't matter about them. They looking, hey, Mr. Key, you did this.
You did it wrong.
So it's tough. But
that's the process, that when you put systems in place for the people, you got to interview them, and give them more than a week for training allowance. I'm big on Upwork and Fiverr, finding people, and I found some quality people on there. But what I did was I interviewed them for the job posting that I put out there. Like right now, I have a customer service posting that I have out there. And for that person, like I probably have about 6 people that I have to set interview time with. I want to check their English. I want to, just see how they handle conflict. I want to see how disciplined they are to follow through. So those kind of things are necessary. But that's the fun part. Now I just kind of weed through who's there and then just hire. So I'm not there at 30 yet, but I probably got about 10 people that I can have on the team: videographers, editors, folks that do the landing pages, just different things that are needed to run the business. Someone had asked me, it looked like you do everything all by yourself. I'm like, why would you want anybody to do everything? You don't want anybody for that. So yeah, the team is good. So assemble the team. We're on to number 6 now. Y'all following? We still good? They're still hanging in there, Sean. So
yeah.
They're still hanging.
We didn't get to the good part yet.
Number 6, think about the price that you're going to offer. Think about it. And whatever price that you're probably thinking, you need to double it. You need to double it, right? When I first came out, one of the credit repair books that I was going to do was like $29.99. The do-it-yourself credit repair book was $29 in my head. And I'm looking online, I'm looking at Princess, and I'm looking at some other folks that are in the industry, and they're $97, $77. I'm like, okay, cool. So I'll increase the price. And I'm standing behind it. And that's what you have to look in your industry to see and survey. What are other people doing? You don't want to be the cheapest. You don't want to be the most expensive, but you have to figure out who your audience is too, because there's a Walmart audience and there's a Nordstrom audience. So you have to figure out who your audience is for whatever niche that you're going to be rocking in. So was it hard for you to try to find out your pricing, Sean, on your credit?
It was. It really was. And like I said, I went through mentors. I was following other people like, hey, you charge this. And the one thing, whatever business you have, when it comes to your pricing, you just have to know your own value, right? Like if you understand and know your value, whatever price you put out there, somebody is going to purchase whatever it is you have at full price, no discount, half off, anything like that. Mm-hmm. If you understand and know your true value, and that's what you're putting out there to the public for everybody else to receive, people are going to purchase your service or want to be willing to work with you. So when it comes to pricing, just know your value, know your worth, and don't be afraid to put a price tag on it. At the end of the day, would you take 10 people at 50% off or 3 people at 100%? And those 3 people at 100%, it's going to be a word of mouth. They got your services. Those 3 people that pay for whatever it is you have to offer at 100%, those are the people that are going to be your, I call them your ground workers, right? Those are the people that are going to put your name out there to other people. They're going to do a lot of the work for you in your own business.
Not even your family, right?
And friends and family ain't gonna get you rich.
Friends and family is not gonna make you rich. Friends and family is not gonna make you rich. I shared that last week.
Yes.
Strangers will pay your bills. So don't get upset when you see, how come Aunt Sally didn't buy my product? That's fine. I want Aunt Sally's cousin to buy my stuff. She'll buy it, respect it, and she'll pay.
Give it to Aunt Sally for free.
Aunt Sally wants it for free, but Aunt Sally's friend will pay you full price because they understand that you're worth it. So make sure you stand behind your price, whatever it is, but do some research in your community of industry services that you provide, and just make sure that you are. You want access, Sean?
Yeah, I'm gonna switch up. I think someone dialed me.
So the next thing is make sure that you research, test, and start your side hustle. You're doing all of this back work, ladies and gentlemen. Before you transition into being an entrepreneur, you've got to be able to do these steps in this order. And I'll make sure that I toss all of these into the Facebook group. So if you are in the Unleash the Entrepreneur group, I will make sure that these go out. And I'll also make sure that they're in the replay tomorrow when I send this out. So you'll get all of it. But you got to research and test it. You got to test it. This didn't work. Okay, so how about these t-shirts, right? I want these t-shirts to be a brand on my Shopify store. Well, I got to test the shirts to make sure the quality is good. I got to get the products. I got to put the logo on here. I got to make sure it works. So before you just run out, you got to make sure that you're testing and researching the product and services before you just jump out there and start your side hustle. The side hustle can go on for weeks. It can go on for months, but I guarantee you, if you hang in there with your job the entire time while you're doing this, this structure is going to allow you to burst out to entrepreneurship more comfortably and not stressed out over money. Sean, what do you have to say about the testing period?
For testing, like I said, a wise guy once told me, how you do anything is how you do everything, right?
Neil Davis?
Yes, sir. So if you go into whatever your product is and you're half stepping it like, hey, and your motivation is just the money, you've already lost, right? If you can't believe in your product, how can you expect someone else to believe in your product? Right. So, I mean, don't half step. I can't stress it enough. Just 100%.
Make sure you just jump out there. You ask the opinion of your friends. Hey, can you test this shirt out? Would you buy this? So a lot of times you may see some of your friends online. You guys like this shirt, or do you like this shirt? They're testing things out before they put that on their store.
And be open to criticism. You're going to get it. You rather get it from your peers than somebody jumping into your comments telling you how much they hate your product.
Exactly.
Right?
This shirt is some crap.
Right. So
They have no mercy in the comment section.
they don't. And then, you got your internet trolls and people that just want to hop on the bandwagon and probably didn't even test your product, but just will hop off the comment of someone else. So whatever you put out there, just be able to stand on that 100%.
Right. Some will. I like that, Andrew. Some won't. And someone's waiting. That's right. So that's why you have to stand behind whatever price that you put on your product or your service, stand behind it. It's $497. The first one who speaks loses. It's $497. Or it's $19.97. Whatever your price is, stay firm with it, because how much time did you put into that? How much of a transformation is that person going to go through when they go through whatever service that you're putting out there? So always never think about, well, I don't know if they can pay. Don't worry about what they can pay. Just like I said, I found the $2,000 to get on that webinar that I really didn't have in one account. I found it because I knew that webinar, that 30-day webinar that I went through was going to be transformational. So you've got to start thinking, not just for today, can this person afford it? Well, it's $497. What it's going to do is it's going to help you do this. It's going to help you lose weight. It's going to do this, whatever the benefits are, do that. And if they didn't have it, hey, if you didn't purchase this, what would your life look like? If, Sean works in the credit repair space, I do as well. Mine is more of a do-it-yourself. I don't do the day-to-day stuff with it anymore. So Sean will take that on. So if I went to him and I said, I need my credit fixed, and he says, well, the service cost X. Where else am I going to go? I got to fix my credit. Like, there's no other place I can just say, you know what, magically, I think it's just going to disappear. It's not going to happen. So that person, he has discovered an industry that is a big problem. So I can't get my rental application. I can't get the housing I want. I can't get the car I want. I can't get the other funding I want if I don't get this credit fixed. You got it? So just figure out your worth. Figure out what your worth is, and that will definitely determine how you stand on your price. And number 7, create the escape plan. Now, this is where it comes down to making sure that your credit is in the great shape, making sure that you got the money to jump out there. Because for you to create the escape plan, that doesn't mean, okay, tomorrow I'm putting in my 2 weeks notice. That means I've got enough credit. My credit looks good enough so that if I do need to get a loan, I could get it. Also means I got enough money from my 401k that I just had to withdraw, or I got enough money from stocks or something I had to liquidate, so I'm good for the next couple of months. So Sean wasn't the best person when it came to the escape plan, but he had money. He had the money, so it wasn't a big deal. So what would you say, Sean, for someone who is trying to create it, but has poor credit and no money?
First I would say, don't follow my plan. I've gotten out of the habit. I usually do stuff. I'm a spur of the moment type person. If I feel it, I just go after it. If you don't have the money, right, we're all on here trying to do business. The first thing that I work with a lot of my clients is, let's work on your business credit, right? If your personal credit is messed up, let's work on something that hasn't been touched yet, something that you don't even know about, so it doesn't even exist technically. Right? Because at the end of the day, and we have these conversations, the money that you can get on the personal side doesn't even equate to the amount of money that you can get on business at the minimum. So a lot of times for my clients, I just tell them, like, look, you don't have the money. Let's focus on something that we can focus on right now. And a lot of times I have people jump in and focus on that business credit first. And simultaneously, as we're working on that business credit, we're starting to repair their personal credit.
Mm-hmm. It's a process. It could take a couple of weeks. It could take a couple of months, but just make sure you're patient through that process.
Don't rush the process. Give yourself time. And even when you're within that process, time for everybody looks different. I say give yourself a year. Set realistic goals like we spoke on in the beginning. Give yourself a year. And I'm not going to lie to you, set realistic goals, but set goals that you believe are unrealistic, but you can still hit, right? I'm not a millionaire yet, but every year I tell myself, hey, I'm going to be a millionaire this year. I'm gonna be a millionaire in 2023. I'm gonna be a millionaire. On my manifest goal board, it sits there. Because eventually I'm going to check it off.
Right.
Because I get closer and closer and closer.
You got to believe it first. You got to believe it.
Absolutely.
So this plan, it varies. Some of you have children. Some of you don't. Some of you are married. Some of you are single. So that plan looks a little bit different for everyone. So we can't say, well, it'll take you exactly 60 or 90 days for you to put your 2 weeks notice in. Well, if the first number 1 through 7 is not even done, it's going to take you longer. So the first step is really just identifying, going through these steps to figure out, I got my business plan. Am I focused on what am I doing? What am I doing? Like, what am I doing in this space? How much am I going to be charging? What kind of people do I need? Like, you just need a notebook, a good afternoon, some coffee, tea, whatever you drink, and then just sit down and just write all this stuff out. And, you know, we're here if you need to dialogue to put all this stuff together. But if the if the funding is not there and you don't have the money to fall back on, don't jump yet. If your credit is under 620 and you're just thinking, I could just get away with this, don't do it. Don't do it. Wait, work with us so we can at least help you build it up so that you can start working on getting that escape plan together. Okay. The next thing is number 8 is go ahead and just take the leap. I'm out. Some of y'all probably already have your 2 weeks notice already written in your phone. You're like, I already got it all typed up. Dear HR. All right. Going on Google, seeing some examples of how do I do this right? That's when you know you have everything together and you can put it all together and just say, I'm gone. Is Alicia on the line? Alicia had worked a government job for years and she was still doing real estate. Like, a lot of people don't know that your side hustle is still moving. Like, you're not talking about it, you're not doing a big noise about it, but a lot of people are doing their side hustle so they can get the momentum up and then have that income replace their full-time job. But that takes years sometimes, depending on your speed. It takes years. And it may take you a couple of months if you're like, let's go. I have nothing else to do but focus on this. All right. So when you take the leap, make sure that you leave on good terms. Leave on good terms. You know, you don't want to go light the employees up and just, you know, kind of go around. I told all of you. Hey, leave out, because you never know when you're going to need that referral. You never know when you're going to need that person in the future. Just thank them. You appreciate everything. Just go online. You can take a look at some of the sample letters to exit, but leave with class. Leave with class. Okay. Did you leave with class, Sean?
I mean, I left respectfully.
With your 2-hour notice?
But it was respectful. And honestly, I do believe that if I were to go back to that job today, that they'd be open hands, you know, would accept me back. It's just about the mark that you leave, you know. It's not about that day. It was the months, the years prior to that day, you know. The rapport that I had on the job, the rapport that I still have today. And that's one of the biggest things in business is keeping a good rapport. But, you know, a lot of times people will tell you it's not that simple when it really is. So don't outguess yourself. Don't outthink yourself. Don't think, hey, if you're one of those people that you thinking of all the cons of why you shouldn't do it, then don't do it.
You won't do it.
You'll never do
it.
You'll psych yourself out. You'll be complacent the whole way through.
And don't get on the microphone and just say, hey,
but
I want to let you guys know about the manager on blah, blah, blah.
But honestly, the one thing I learned is you first have to show, you got to show that you can handle what you have before you can start earning more, right? So, and that really stuck with me for the longest time. It was like, I was always asking, hey, why is not jumping out there yet? Why I'm not successful yet? Why I'm not making this yet? Mm-hmm. Because I wasn't even managing the little bit that I did have at the time. And here I am asking for more. And if they put more, if they had to put more, or whoever would have put more on my plate at that time, I would have never been ready for it.
Right. I love it. I like to hear that. So when it comes down to it, we're almost finished, you guys. I got number 9, and then we got number 10. We're gonna wrap things up. And then if you guys have any questions for Sean or for myself, then I'm gonna open it up for questions. Number 9 is expect to work more than 40 hours. I said that before, I shared that with you. In the beginning, you're going to work more than 40 hours. How many hours were you working in the beginning, Sean?
However many hours in the day, I promise you, I literally was probably working, and no exaggeration, I probably literally was working about 20 hours a day. And that was just me not having my systems in place, not being willing to, pass off,
Right.
tasks,
Task.
and that's one of the hardest parts, like I said. But if you do that, you're gonna outwork yourself. You're gonna burn out in your own business before you did at your own job as an employee. So one of the biggest things, is put in the time, but don't burn yourself out putting in the time. Put in consistent time. Put yourself on a schedule. That's one of the biggest things that I had to do now, and to this day I still do it. I put myself on a schedule because even now I told Lorie, like, look, yeah, I'm here late tonight, but I'm actually working. Before I hop on, I'm still doing stuff because I've been an employee for so long. I can't get in boss mode all the time. Sometimes I'm in employee mode where I just want to hit the ground and work. And that's one of the things that I can appreciate about the job is you know how to work and you know how to get that job done.
But one of the other things is you got to trust your team too, that they can do it. Like I have the very first time I had to get a transaction coordinator in real estate, I would just say, oh, I can do it. I can just send the paperwork, the contract over here. I can just do it. And she's like, let me do my job. And so for a lot of those positions, you could do a lot of the administrative things, but why work in the business when Sean could be working or you could be working on the business? Let me think of another idea. What's going to make this better? So just think about those things at the end of the day. Put yourself on a schedule. Like I still get up at the same time. I get up at 7 o'clock every day, take a break around 12 o'clock, but everything is time blocked. And that discipline, and like I said, is everything you got to do, because if you're not going to time block, then your day is just going to be, you know what, it's 10 o'clock. Let me just get up. You know what, it's now all of a sudden 12 o'clock and now it's lunchtime. And you don't get any work done when you're just working on what you see on TV. So definitely when you're coaching with me, that's one of the first things that I know. That's one of the first things that we're guilty of, is because you just look at the freedom and you're like, I can just get up whenever the sun wakes me up. No, you're not rich yet. You're not wealthy yet. So you can't do that quite yet. So let's stick to getting up at 6 or 7 and then let's start working. That's why it's very important to have an accountability partner. What's up, guys? You've got to have an accountability partner. Get stuff done in a short period of time. That way, you're not just, oh, you know what? Let me go on out there and walk the dog for the 3rd time. Let me go on out here and just, let me see what's going on Facebook real quick. And all of a sudden it's 2 hours later. Okay. So in our coaching session, when we talk, we'll get that together because I really want to make sure that your time is blocked from when you get up to the time you get off. Now, one of the things, Sean, I started doing was making sure I stopped my day at 5 or 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock. And only on Tuesdays, because I'm running these classes, is it the only late night for me. But I had to work it like a business, work it like a job. So if I'm getting off at 6 o'clock, turn the computer off. Because if you're running until 8, 9, 10 o'clock, your brain is still on. And you get into bed, there's no rest there. You walking the dog 3 times. Yeah, okay. We get distracted. My ADD, it can get the best of me. I don't know about you, Sean, but I got it. So I can get distracted. So just make sure that you put yourself on a schedule. What time are you getting off? And it should not be 10 o'clock. It should not be 9 o'clock. Or because entrepreneurs always feel, I don't feel like I've got stuff done. And I get that. All right. All right, moving on to the last one. The last one, number 10, is pray. That's all we got. You gotta pray through this. You gotta pray through this, and you gotta expect it's going to be just fine. But if you are a worrier, then you're going to set yourself back years and years and years. Well, what if? Well, but what if my credit doesn't? Well, what if? What if it does work out just fine? What if customers call you? What if customers actually buy your service? What if? So just turn that around and stop staying in the negative of the what if. What if it doesn't happen? I want you to always focus on what if it does happen? What if I get triple the sales? What if I double these just today? How was your mindset with, because this is the bonus I'm about to flow into. The bonus that I really want you to stay in is I want you to stay on community and how community is super important for an entrepreneur doing what they're doing. How important is community and mentorship to you?
I mean, it's at the top. You can't do anything without the education before. And like I said, it was the driving force in me even becoming who I am today. And like when you get into a mentorship, you're literally putting yourself in an atmosphere of like-minded individuals. You know, every single day we pass those narrow-minded individuals. We pass those negative Nancy's. You know, people that are just negative all day, every day, praying on their own downfall. Oh man, such happened. Oh, did you see the news? You know, when you're in a room full of people that want it just as bad as you can't lose, right? And like I just told you guys, you want to make sure that you're not the smartest in the room. When you get into those mentorships, you're not going to be the smartest in the room. You have nothing but a bunch of like-minded individuals that you have now to learn from. And being in that room, you might learn 20 different things, but all you need to walk away with is one.
That's it. Just
right?
one.
All you need to do is walk away with one stream of income, one business niche that you found that resonates with you, that you're able to take and scale to the next level. So when it comes to mentorships, I mean, I'm to this day, I still know that I don't have enough information. So what do? I jump into a mentorship. Oh, it's a conference down in Atlanta. I'm going to Atlanta. Oh, it's
your daughter's going with you.
Yeah, she has to. if something is going on in California, I'm there. You know, week's notice, couple days. I mean, whatever it is, I know that I have to keep investing in myself. So another thing is, don't put a price tag on education. Right?
Don't put a price tag on education.
Please. You can't put a price tag on education.
Because it costs versus what you're losing are two different things. Yes, it costs $9.97. What are you losing if you don't get into that program for $9.97?
And the biggest thing, right? Don't think about that price tag. It's the inevitable. It's going to cost what it's going to cost, but at the end of the day, what you're going to gain out of whatever it is you're doing, you're learning from that person's mistake, right? So from you, whatever business it is you're trying to do, you're jumping out there on your own. You already steps behind because now you got to make mistakes. Now you got to learn things, you know, on your own. You're wasting time, and that's one thing that we talk about here today that you can't get back. When you jump into this mentorship, now I'm learning from his mistakes, her mistakes. I'm networking with people, and at the end of the day, your network is your network, right? Like today, I'm here on with Lorie. We met through a mentorship. Now we can sit and do business together. Who would have thought, right? And you never know who you're going to meet in these rooms. You never know who you're going to meet on these conferences. You might meet somebody that will change your life entirely, and you don't even know their last name at the time.
That's right. You never know. That person could be right next to you in the bubble right there. That could be the answers to everything that you need. So with everything that we shared, everything, if you're on here, of course, if you're on Zoom, then I'll make sure that I run all of these back on the replay tomorrow, I promise you. So if you're on Instagram, you want to make sure that you get all these 10 keys from going from employee to entrepreneur, then make sure that you're registering, because I take the link down tonight. But register so at least you can get the replay tomorrow, okay? So if there's anything in the credit space that you can share today with them, because in our mentorship groups, we get knowledge from 8-figure earner people. And it used to be the cool thing to say 6 figures, right? 6 figures is not even cool anymore. 7- and 8-figure earners who were dropping knowledge. Just here's something to help your business. Here's a website to go to. Here's a bank that's going to help you. So if you've got anything, Sean, to help nudge some of the credit or banking needs of people on the line, what you got, man? I'm leaving it all open for you. I don't know what you got.
No, I love free game. Let's do a little bit different. If you got a response to this, just come off of mute. Is there anyone that has any direct questions with credit today, right here today, on what it is they need to remove or anything like that? I'm gonna give you guys some websites in a little bit as well. But if I can help somebody directly, and then maybe your question might help the group. You don't even have to drop it in the chat. I want you to come off mute. I want to hear from you. I want to hear you.
Star said inquiries. That was my thing too, Star. That's what I needed help with because I had too many inquiries.
All right. So I'm gonna give you guys a hack as far as inquiries, and then I'll give you guys the long way of going about it. So the hack as far as getting inquiries removed, right? The biggest thing is you don't want to remove an inquiry that's attached to a positive account, right? If you don't take anything away from here today, remember that. So let's say you got the Apple card and then you're trying to remove this Apple inquiry. Don't do it because you're going to lose that positive account. You can call the bureaus, right? One by one. There's 3 of them: TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian. You can call them and dispute your inquiry over the phone, right? That's the 24-hour removal. You can call the 1-800 numbers and dispute them over the phone. Now, I'm 100% straight up. I'm transparent when I share information. You may have to talk to 3 or 4 reps and be on the phone for an hour or 2 hours before you get that rep that says, hey, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and remove that, right? So it's all about how bad you really want that done. Now, the second way you can go about, removing these inquiries is, your 609 letters. And I know Lorie and her DIY credit guide book.
I think Star got it. I think she got it. So
I'm sure she has that example.
Definitely. The 609 letter is included. That template is in the credit repair do-it-yourself guide. So if you got it, that's what he's talking about.
That's big. So one of the biggest things I do for inquiries is I'll mail in that letter, always certified, because we want to make sure that they got that letter. I'll mail that letter in with the list of inquiries. Then I'll call within a week because I know that letter got there in 2 to 3 days because I certified it.
Right.
I'll call within that same week and say, hey, I'll put this dispute in. Why I haven't gotten any results? Here's the hack though. When I send my letters in, I backdate my letters 2 weeks, because what y'all need to understand here is the credit bureaus, they have 30 days to review your report, investigate, and send you the results. If I send them a backdated letter for 2 weeks and then I'm calling them a week later, I already put the pressure on them. Now they have to expedite those results to me.
Right.
All right. And the biggest thing, I know if anybody, this question is in your head, you didn't ask it. Oh, well, what if they read the letter and they know that they got the letter today? Nobody's sitting at that credit agency. Nobody's sitting there at that credit bureau is reading your letters. All of these letters go into a machine. It's called eOscar. It reads and scans your letters. So whatever date generates on that letter, that's what eOscar scans and puts into their system.
Got it. So the letter could have been dated 2 weeks ago. That's the date that they have to work off of.
Absolutely. So
that's not 30 days. So they got the pressure of, they got 2 weeks basically to fix your shit.
And that's my hack for inquiries.
I like that. All right.
I
did that. I did that, and it did work. I did get some inquiries off. I felt big when I did that.
Another big thing, and like I said, if anybody has any questions as far as credit, just hop off and you can ask. The biggest thing that I can give you guys is don't be afraid of credit cards. All right.
Credit card. Like your mama.
Get credit cards. If you're scared of credit cards, still open up the unsecured card so they collect the aids, but open up a secured card, because you treat the secured card like a debit card, right? And while you're learning how to, utilize a credit card, you can use your secure card because you're basically paying yourself back anyway. So if you mess that up, you ain't gonna mess up paying yourself back. That's the one thing you're gonna do in life, is pay yourself back. All right. But at the same time, when you have these credit cards reported to your account, what a lot of people don't understand is when it comes to that debt to income ratio, credit reports as income on your report. So if you have $50,000 worth of debt and you got $25,000 worth of credit cards and you scared to use them, so you got that $25,000 limit sitting there, you just cut your debt to income ratio in half. So the biggest thing that I tell people, all my clients, you need credit cards. I don't even use debit cards anymore. Anytime I use any type of transaction, it's with a credit card.
Right.
Because I'm getting back money, I'm getting my points, I'm getting mileage. Now I'm able to take these trips. When I go to conferences, I don't have to pay for it. When I just want to go on vacation, I don't have to pay for it. The mileage is free. The trip is already funded. And that's just by me using my credit cards for daily transactions. So that's one of the biggest keys that I teach people is, don't be afraid to get these credit cards.
Yeah.
But be responsible with it.
Debit card happy. I was debit card loving life, but I didn't know that credit cards are better to use than a debit card.
What should you not put out?
Hey, you go into the circles, huh? You find these things out.
What should you not put while filling out credit card applications? What was that? That was.
Star, what exactly are you asking? Like income?
Could you come off mute, Star, and ask that?
Yes, can you hear me?
Hey, Star.
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, so I noticed that you get different results when you put certain information on a credit card application. They say, don't put entrepreneur, don't put specific occupations. So I'm just trying to understand, what should I not put when I'm filling out a credit card application?
Got you. Okay, so I hear exactly what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And this actually goes for banks in general too, when you're trying to apply for loans. There are certain businesses, and we have to understand that certain businesses are looked at risk businesses, right? There's literally there's an at-risk business list that if your business pops up on there, and if your business pops up on there and it's not, accredited and already have a history of funding and making money, you're on that at-risk business list, and a lot of times you will get minimal funding or they will not approve you at all.
Right. Credit repair too.
The biggest thing that I can say to you is, one, you're not going to lie on your application and say, hey, if you're a realtor, then, that's really what you are. But the most basic business that I put on there is a business consultant, right? Because in credit, what am I doing? People are consulting with me to help their business or their personal life.
Yeah.
When you're a realtor, people are consulting with you on home. If you're a clothes designer, people are consulting with you on clothing. So I keep it as generic as possible, because it's called an SIC code that your business is listed under. And if you keep it as some type of business consultant, you'll be good on your application. So the things to stay away from is, the words like credit, words like realtor, use words like use words like solutions and logistics and things like that.
William, did you say
Thank you, Sean.
You're welcome.
Good question, Star.
Thank you.
Sean, I think you need to come back just so we can talk about credit one day.
All right.
You can do that.
William, did you have a question?
Yes, give me a few minutes. I'm at work, so give me about 2 minutes.
Oh.
You have 2 minutes?
Get back
Okay.
to you, sir.
I'm dropping someone off. Okay.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah.
One of the other things about credit, I did learn that is, as a realtor, when I was going for funding, that was one thing that was getting me rejected. And I didn't know that was a high risk situation. So that was being in the rooms with other people last year, really figured out business consultant. So going for funding, even with funding, I'm gonna give you guys this. If you're going for funding, you may want to ask the loan officer or the banker, what is the best thing to put? Because they want to get the loan done, you want to get the loan done, right? So you may want to ask that banker, well, this is my industry, what's going to be the best title so that your underwriting department approves it with no problem. That's another thing I did learn, is that some of the local banks, some of them don't want to see business consultant, all right? But some of them may be okay with educational specialists. I don't know, but you got to ask that funder to find out what is the best one, for my industry that I'm in, because he or she will let you know.
Absolutely. And then when it comes to credit cards, Star, just to kind of
Absolutely.
Expand on that, know the rules of your banks, right? The internet is just so powerful because there's so much free information in these Facebook groups, even on Google. If you literally know the rule of your bank, you can hop into a Facebook group like Amex and ask questions about what people did to get approved. They'll give you the answers for free. They don't understand, your agenda or what it is you're trying to accomplish. They just want to help people and they just giving free information. And a lot of times you get people in there bragging, not knowing that, hey, brag on, you helping me. And now I know that I can go and do this. And I know the rule of this bank. Or I know that that's another thing that I think is like a myth when it comes to credit. People think that, hey, if I go get my application pulled, they're pulling from all three. You got some banks that only pull from one bureau. Some banks pull from two. Some banks pull from all three. So the biggest thing when applying for credit cards, do your research. Know what bank pulls from what bureau, because your credit scores aren't treated equally. You might have a 700 with TransUnion, and you might be in the 500s with your other ones. And now that you know what credit cards pull TransUnion, you have a high approval rate. And it won't even matter what your other credit scores are.
I love that. That's necessary. So look, I don't want to run this too late. If anybody has any other questions, William, I think you are ready and we can kind of wrap it up after one more question. But I just wanted to make sure that you all knew that Sean is a credit specialist. So if you needed to schedule time with him to talk about your specific situation, I have the do it yourself guide, but you may need someone to talk about your situation and a little more extensive to get the inquiries off and what kinds of things can help with your specific situation. So Sean, if you could drop in that link so that they can get in touch with you, that would be great, so that they can get a little bit closer to getting things done. Again, we're all about getting professionals to help you. So that's why I really wanted Sean to come here so that you can get a professional to get your services with your credit done. But William, you got a question?
Okay, well, I actually can give Sean a call later, but my question was about bankruptcy. Is bankruptcy a good thing, getting a fresh start, or is it a bad thing for your credit? And can you actually get bankruptcies off your credit report after you file, if you file?
That's a loaded question. Sean, I'll let you take that.
I like it. All right, I'm gonna answer each part of that. Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll post it in the link, the replay tomorrow as well, his information.
Okay, I do want to get with the program, and then I want to talk to you as well, Sean.
Yeah, no problem.
He's gonna answer your question tonight, though.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Hang in there.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I had to switch over.
Okay.
So your first part was, is bankruptcy is it a good thing to have a fresh start? I tell all of my clients never to file bankruptcy, right? Because this is what you got to understand. You're taking a step back. You're going to file bankruptcy. You're going to pay a minimum of $1,000 to $1,500 to file with your attorneys and everything like that. And it sits on your credit for 7 to 10 years, right? So this is a blemish that's on your credit for 7 to 10 years. That's the statute of limitation. After 10 years, it'll be removed.
Mm-hmm.
You removed all of your debt, but you already didn't put X amount of dollars into this, and it's still going to keep affecting you, right? They say it's a second chance. It's very limited, and it's an asterisk next to that second chance. When whatever accounts it was that was affecting you, you could have took that $1,000, $1,500, whatever it was, your court fees, your lawyer fees that it took for you to file this bankruptcy, and put it into a credit specialist or educating yourself on how to, fix and repair these accounts. Now, I think your next question was, if you get a bankruptcy, can you remove it? I'm here to tell you today that as a consumer and knowing your rights from the Fair Credit Act and the FDCPA, you can remove any account from your credit report as a consumer.
Okay.
Right? Your credit report should look how you want it to look.
Okay, so maybe you can help me figure out which way to go. I co-signed for my son on a car that he had an accident with, and now I owe them $8,500, and it's on my credit report.
Never co-sign ever again.
Yeah. Well, you try to help family out sometime, but I learned a lesson. Yeah.
Oh, I shared that a couple of weeks ago about credit. Do not co-sign. I don't care if you're sleeping with them, if you gave birth to them. This is the kind of situations that we end up in with these things happening. So there's a way. I have a bankruptcy on my credit report, right, William? So on TransUnion and Equifax, they're still on there. But with me doing the credit letters, the disputing process, Experian deleted it.
Okay.
So when I apply, like Sean had mentioned, if I know that a bank is going through Experian, I will go there because my credit looks sexy as hell. Because
Right.
the bankruptcy is not on there, but I'm still
Right.
pushing with my dispute letters to get the other two to let it fall off.
Okay.
But you're gonna have to work with Sean to get a little bit more aggressive approach
Right. Okay.
so that you can get it done. But guys, don't co-sign no more. I don't care what kind of sob story it is, because it's gonna mess you up when you need to get stuff done.
Exactly. Okay. All right. I appreciate that. And I'm gonna get your information, Sean, before we hang up.
Yeah, not a problem, not a problem.
Did you drop it in there, Sean?
I'll put that in there. I'll drop it again, and I'll also I'll put in my.
I don't have Instagram, so I'm not sure. Is there another way?
Yeah, I'm gonna put the page that I put in there. That was just the consultation page. I'll drop that in there again.
Oh, I see it.
Yep, and then I'll put this is my
it.
flow page. If you have Instagram, Facebook,
Okay.
and you could, whatever. That's like my flow page. That'll get you to either one. So the first one, that's the consultation link. The second one, it gets you to either Facebook or Instagram.
Okay.
Real easy to talk to, real chill. He helped me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Flaws and all. So I never just sit here and say, oh, my stuff is all perfect. No, I had a bankruptcy and it's causing me issues still for certain kind of funding. Can I get some loans? Yes. But some banks are just like, they feel more hesitant, especially now these days in the last 10 years, really, to extend credit when you had a previous bankruptcy. So before you have to do it, just really think about your next steps in front of you. What do I need to do with my credit in the next 5 to 10 years? Really think about that, because if you have to file, you have to file to liquidate what you had. But if it's a budgeting kind of conversation and you can avoid it, I would say avoid it. Give us a call. My position is more so for business coaching, credit, business funding to help your business move forward. If you need to speak with Sean, talk with him to get a game plan on what needs to be done about the credit and what's already been done.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it. All right. And I do want to speak with you as far as a business. I'm actually pastor a church, and we're just getting started. So
don't say trying. Don't say trying.
Yeah. Well, I am pastoring the church, and we are just getting started, and we have a lot to learn and a long way to go, but it's going to be worth it.
Good. So William, how did you get information for this webinar?
I don't know. It just popped up on my phone. I'm at work, and I heard something ding on my phone, and I just chimed in.
Look at me just dinging it.
I didn't look at it. I didn't see the information. I just chimed in, so I'm not sure who gave me.
See how things are meant to be? See how it fell in your lap?
Yeah. And it's right at the right time, too.
It does. I'm glad things happen like that. So I pray that everything that we shared today was helpful.
Yes.
In the replay, please check that out for tomorrow, because I have a lot of things I can now have to put into there. Sean's information will be put into the replay, of course. The replay video will be in there. The 10 steps that we went over, go over that. Because if you are moving and transitioning from being an employee to jumping into entrepreneurship, you've got to follow those steps so that your transition makes sense.
Right.
So all of that will be in the replay video for tomorrow. And I'm thankful that you guys all tuned in. I don't have anything to offer here except my coaching services. So I'm here typically the 15 minutes that I spend on speaking to you guys. Within 15 minutes, my gift has been at least acquiring what's the best step for you. Because a lot of times you're in the picture frame, so you can't see what is the best thing. That's the reason why we have coaches, other people to help. You know what, I'm thinking about this idea. What would be the best thing? So within 15 minutes, I can listen to you and kind of identify, without my opinion, what may be the best fit for you to go to next. Okay. Right. That's what I do for realtors and entrepreneurs. I help them explore their brand and really make money with their brand, whether it's online. It's mostly online. Let's just put it that way. It's always online.
I'm also a realtor. I'm a realtor too, so I can use some advice. So I'll connect with you as well. Yeah.
That's why you probably got my information. Okay.
Right. Okay.
Perfect. You're very welcome. So Sean, you got to come back, because I think that next one that we do is going to be all about funding, resources, money, and credit. How about that?
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. We'll do it. All right, guys, I want to thank you very much. Next week, we have another guest that's going to be on board. All stuff, no fluff. We're going to have Kelly Mead. She's going to be on.